friends. Thank you for walking with J.Beau on this July the 10th, 2025. (72 degrees). Dew point is 60. Humidity is 64. And we're walking. So I hope you like the new show intro, which isn't really a show, it's a walking vlog. But nonetheless, there's a new intro. And the intro is there because every walk I upload, I edit in a title, then I type out what the temperature is, I type out all this other stuff that really doesn't mean anything. So I decided to just make a show intro, call it good. I'll change the music once in a while at the beginning, but other than that, that's going to be my show intro. Hope you don't mind. We'll see how that plays out. Nothing is set in stone with me. I'm also doing a head mount today instead of a selfie, because walking more in the city today, more people around, and walking around with a stick sticking 3 feet out in front of you is not only attention getting, but it's distracting. So we'll just walk today till I don't feel like walking. You know, I gotta talk to you guys about polling. Gotta absolutely ignore it. Nobody is doing any good polling right now. Not really. I mean, I saw one today from Fox News. I'm like, come on, you gotta be kidding me. Democrat lunatic Jasmine Crockett in Texas. She's a congresswoman. She's not even a senator. But that didn't stop Fox News from doing a poll, polling people in that district that John Cornyn is the senator for, that if she were to run for the Senate seat that John Cornyn holds, the rhino Republican we don't like, Fox News said that she would win. I'm like, are you out of your effing mind? She's not going to win no Senate seat in Texas from John Cornyn. She's a freaking outrageous lunatic who says stupid things. She's a racist. There's no way that's going to happen. So that is just complete bunk, ridiculous polling. I don't know who the hell they polled. Probably the same ones that they polled when they found out that, you know, the poll stated that Kamala Harris had a chance at winning Texas. So these people are morons. We can't get anything accurate anymore. You gotta rely on your own intuition. Follow what's going on your own. And the only time you can really give something any kind of weight at all is if several different polls are kind of about the same. Like the one I saw yesterday from CNN, ABC, CBS, AP, I think, and somebody else. All of them, you know, not friends of Trump. There was also a Fox poll in there. They all had a margin of 48 to 60% of the American public wants all illegals gone. All. Not just the criminals and not just this or that. They want all illegals deported. So that, even after all their propaganda about ICE and all this other stuff, the American public wants illegals removed from the country. Not only the bad ones, and leave the good ones, but the poll was a very blunt, do you support the deportation of all illegals? (48 to 60% said yes. I believe the highest one was 59%. But they were all between 46 and 59. So that is, you know, the majority. At least half the country anyway. Does that mean Trump's policies are being enjoyed or supported? So that's pretty good, isn't it? So that those numbers have not changed from the election. That means people approve of what Trump's been doing, and they're not listening to the propaganda. Which should make everybody happy. Makes me happy anyway. The other thing that makes me happy today is they actually, Department of Justice is issuing 20 subpoenas to some of the major offenders of child transition surgery and hospitals. The Department of Justice has launched a nationwide investigation into medical fraud, malpractice, and I'm sure it will be fruitful. President Trump is keeping his campaign promise to get that junk out of this country. The memo issued by the Department of Justice referenced indoctrination, gender ideology, and possible Medicare fraud, Medicaid, tax dollar theft by doctors doing unnecessary surgeries to enrich themselves, taking advantage of gullible people with mental issues, and it's a damn shame. and we finally have a president doing something about it. Which is what I voted for. And probably you as well, if you're watching this walking vlog. I'm still working on this church. Been working on that all winter. Started that last fall. Makes me wonder what they're doing. It takes so long. What the hell are they doing? So it's kind of funny, as I got a flat screen with GPS in it, and I can link my phone to it via Bluetooth for my car. I have a Mustang that basically only has an alarm to tell me that I left my lights on or the seatbelt isn't on. And the seatbelt one goes off after a couple minutes. And that's all my car does. My car doesn't talk to me. It doesn't have beeps and whistles. In fact, my headlight switch is still the old-fashioned push-pull dashboard headlight switch. So, problem is, now I get this GPS flat screen. Usually I just put my phone in the drink holder and use that with wearing my Bluetooth and GPS with Google Maps. So now I get this screen and I don't have a place to put it. There's no place to mount it. Right? So there's like absolutely no place to mount the damn thing on the dashboard without it being in the way. If you've ever sat in an older Mustang, you know that you're almost sitting on the ground. So if you put anything on top of the dashboard, you can't see where you're going. Blocks your view. In fact, my younger brother hates getting out of my car because it's sitting almost on the road. Kind of an effort to get up out of it. He's used to a big, tall pickup truck. But anyway, so I get this cool thing and I'm like, all right, well, whatever I'm gonna do with that, I did the same thing with my phone. And my car doesn't have Bluetooth for the GPS and the music thing and all that stuff to attach to it. The only cool thing it has is it records video automatically while you're driving in 1080p, both front and rear, if you mount the camera in the back. Then I'm going to have to conceal the wires, which always find a way to get in the way. So we'll see. It's a cool item if you want something extra, but it certainly is not necessary. And I also don't listen to music when I'm driving. I like to listen to the car. Anyway, just babbling. I don't know what to talk about today. Yesterday's walk was long, almost 6 miles, and I talked about so much stuff yesterday. Now we're going to hurry up and cut across here. Excuse me. So the media and the Democrats are freaking relentless, I gotta tell you. Every single day there has to be something that defames Trump or his administration. It's crazy. I mean, it's not working, but it's not stopping them from trying. And what I'm talking about is, today's story is FEMA. FEMA. 4 anonymous sources from DHS, Department of Homeland Security, that are actually FEMA is under the control of DHS, and I believe these 4 were from FEMA, who are saying, due to budget cuts and new imposed rules on spending, distributing funds for emergencies, that FEMA was delayed 4 days when the flood in Texas happened because of bureaucratic blah blah blahs. So they're using their anonymous sources again, but too cowardly to speak up in person, which means they're probably low-level people that don't know squat, and they just hate Trump and Kristi Noem. So, thanks. So this story's not going to go anywhere, but you know, they're looking for something that sticks. They tried to blame the National Weather Service while the bodies were still warm, I might add, which absolutely disgusts me. I hate the media with a passion. I don't care who hears it. I'm not going to wish them harm, because if I did, my channel would get a strike. So I'm not going to do that. Otherwise, blah blah blah, blah blah, censor myself, blah blah blah. So anyway, obviously we know these stories are BS. Anybody that's appointed by Trump or works for Trump or is looked at by Trump is going to be a target. So excuse me. Well, looks like we had a fender bender here. There's broken glass and something here happened, obviously, to a vehicle. Somebody did something dumb, I guess. So there's still about 119 people missing. Somewhere around 170 have been found. So this is definitely something very bad. And it seems like the media is way too anxious to find a reason to blame Trump. And that really makes me angry. They are tone deaf and really pisses me off. Now, Elon Musk is angry, and I'm not going to talk about Elon that much. This is more about the budget and the $5 trillion in spending increase over the next 10 years. And like I said on my walks before the big beautiful bill was signed, that it looks bad on paper, but it really isn't. And I'll explain why. Thanks. It really isn't, because it is what it does is it takes bargaining power away from the Democrats for the next 2 reconciliation bills. And that's really what the strategy was. Nobody's really talking about that except the Republicans. But that's the main purpose of it, because the Democrats like to hold that hostage in the Senate. They like holding that hostage. Because when the Republicans want to pass legislation, cut spending, the Democrats are always like, well, where is this money going to come from? And then they hold it hostage with a debt ceiling. So raising the debt ceiling $5 trillion gives the Republicans room to take leverage away from Democrats for the most part. And that's the purpose of it. So I wish they didn't have to do that. I wish they could just pass normal bills with 60 votes. The Democrats are not going to do anything with 60 votes. They're just not. They're not going to begrudge the Republicans and Trump any wins at all. So it's budget reconciliation or nothing. So the Republicans are going to do a budget reconciliation bill this fall, and they're going to do another one next spring. That's what they're going to do. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that Democrats can't do anything about, but you're going to have Republican rhinos that are going to want their pork in it. So, but we'll deal with that when we get there. And you know, that's just the way business is done now. I hate it as much as everybody else. That's why I supported the big beautiful bill, because it will reduce spending. It will cut the deficit. Tariffs are going to be a big part of that. And you're going to see people in the media, Trump's tariffs aren't going to be enough to pay down the deficit. That is correct. The deficit is so high right now that the estimated $3 trillion gained in tariffs over the next 10 years, it's going to go directly in the Treasury. So we are going to see the national debt reduced, and we're going to have less government spending that a lot of Republicans like Tillis didn't want to do. Some of them didn't want to do it, but they voted for it anyway, because we have a Republican president, and if you don't vote for it, you're going to kill his entire presidency. And apparently Susan Collins understood that. Lisa Murkowski only voted for it when she had a special carve out for Alaska, because she has to run for re-election in Alaska. 3 years from now, we may very well have not enough money for Medicaid and social services entitlements. But the Trump administration is gambling that they're going to be able to force people to get off of Medicaid, I mean. Medicare and Medicaid are two different things. Medicare is for people 65 and older. Medicaid is for anybody that needs health insurance for whatever reasons. It was originally intended for people that have disabilities, young people, problems, issues, families, special circumstances. But a lot of people are on Medicaid that should not be. So we're going to see a lot of savings from that, plus the government savings and cuts from other places. And what I'm saying is 3 years from now, it's not going to be that bad. And then keep touting about these small hospitals, people are going to die. Well, $54 billion was set aside in the big beautiful bill specifically for small hospitals in rural areas. There's a lot of small hospitals in rural areas in Republican districts, and that's what the Republican rhinos were worried about. So that was put in the congressional bill, which was much better than the Senate bill. But the Senate does what they do, and pork, and you can't pass anything without the Senate, and you cannot get anything for Democrats to vote for it, whether it hurts the country or helps it. They don't care. So I'm walking through a part of town here that is definitely keep your head on a swivel. I grew up in this neighborhood when I was a kid, and we used to be able to leave your doors unlocked. We didn't have crime. People didn't break into houses. You didn't have all these drug problems that you have now. You had the occasional alcoholics who would fall over on a curb, passed out, but they didn't rob you. So things have gone downhill. I shall be cautious, head on a swivel. Especially if somebody sees a camera on my head, which I turn the front screen off and LEDs to not attract attention.
How's it going?
Hi.
Better now.
And watch out for the snatch and grab. Somebody runs up behind you and rips it off your head while they're running, and there's no way I'm going to catch them. So keep my ears and eyes open. This used to be Bork's Market. Now it's a neighborhood market. Got a whole bunch of cultural enrichment today.
The best thing ever walking in the street.
This neighborhood does have shootings, usually late at night. In fact, a block and a half up the road here, we had a drive-by shooting, and the police actually caught the SUV that the person driving it did it and arrested him, and they've announced a new crackdown on crime initiative with the police department, who have hired some new police officers, thankfully. So There was a lot of run down and broken in this neighborhood. Last time we went through here, there was a whole bunch of trash outside on the lawns. Old trash that hadn't been picked up. So, hate to say it, my friends, this neighborhood is crap. So I'm gonna walk down. Actually, I think I'm gonna turn off. We went down that way before. We'll go up this way. I used to live on this street over 20 years ago. And it was much different than it is now, I can tell you that much. All I smell down here is trash. It stinks. But that's what you get walking with J.Beau. Used to live in this building on the first floor. I don't know how many times I shovel that driveway in the wintertime. Somehow it became my responsibility for some reason. So, officially a shithole in Lewiston, Maine. It's official. And it also demonstrates the how you can feel safer carrying, because if I wasn't carrying, I probably would not walk through this neighborhood. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good. Hi. How are you? Another guy that used to live here, I went to school with. And I used to go to school in that building, that brick building right there. We're gonna walk right by it. Ooh, that dumpster smells horrible. P.U. Definitely summertime. For an opportunity. Hope in Jesus. He is the anchor of the soul. Lewiston Bible Church. That's the truth. It's like a lot of construction going on around town. They're trying to polish a turd. I got into a fight one day right here on this corner in 2nd grade in the 1970s, and I did well. Actually, it was the 6th grade in the early 80s, very early 80s, 1980, probably was 1980, and this was the school I went to. And there used to be a fence here. Some of the old fence is still there. That's old original fencing from when I was a kid. It's still there. So anyway, they've turned this into apartments. And this is the school that I fell chasing a school bus. I was racing a school bus. Because when you're 10 years old, that's what you do. And I fell down and skinned my knee and ended up getting an infection. I almost lost my leg. And I remember the school insurance found an excuse not to pay it. Of course. So we'll cut across the grass here. And I remember all this work on the outside of the building. My 5th grade classroom was right there. 4th grade, I mean. 5th grade, I was at Fry School for 1 grade, and I came back here for 6th before going to the middle school. So I'm gonna go across the street. They still got that damn Ukraine flag out here. 2 of them. It's like a disease. So those trees were little saplings when I went to school here. They were just little trees. They don't grow very fast. They should be bigger than that. But this is the old neighborhood. I used to walk to school. There's the USA Ukraine flag. They got the Ukraine heart in the window. One of those people. AC is on, even though it's not as humid as it has been. Not as muggy. It's actually kind of comfortable. It's more like 71, 70 degrees. Overcast. I'm sweating right now, but not severely. Younger guy on the porch just told that woman to be quiet. He saw I was recording, so she must have been talking about something not good. And he told her to be quiet. That's always worrisome, because they might want to find out what I recorded. We shall be cautious. And people can say, well, maybe you're being paranoid. I don't think so. We just saw that guy's expression. I believe I recorded it. He told her to stop talking because I was recording. Obviously, she was talking about something he didn't want what talked about. Now look at it this way. Don't talk about your drug buying in public. Well, whatever it is they were talking about, chances are it was drugs. It's usually the biggest crime. So the other thing too is I noticed a couple of different comments about how I walk when I have a selfie stick. And I've mentioned this before. A lot of people seem to think I have a limp. I don't. What it is you get a stick when you're walking and the camera is going up and down and you're holding a stick. So the stick is pivoting like that while I'm walking. So it's not indicative of my gait of walk. So it looks a little strange sometimes, depending on the angle. But it is just the fulcrum point in my hands with the stick dipping up and down while I'm walking. combined with the built-in stabilizer in the camera, which acts as a gimbal. Looks like a board to break your neck on. At least I would at my age. You know, you're getting old when some of this stuff for young people, you look at it and you go, yeah, I don't want to get on that. I'll probably kill myself. I gotta be careful of my words I use for the algorithm. I don't mean literally kill myself or harm myself. I'm talking about getting on one of these crazy motorized skateboards or unicycle uniboards and things may not end well for me. Internet algorithms don't care about figures of speech, unfortunately. You know, times change. You know, like people used to like doing FM broadcasting, like me. I used to love that. But now you can do the same thing from home on a website. There's plenty of sources you can do that. Twitch, Odyssey. Personally, I like Odyssey. You can live stream on there. And one of my turntables is a USB output. And run that right into a PC or a laptop, and I could play music from it. I only have one USB turntable. I used to have two. One of them, my older brother's turntable that I had gifted to him, acted up, started acting weird, not working right. So I gave him the other one to replace it. And I have a Riga RP1 upstairs in my bedroom that I rarely use. It's actually a very good quality turntable. I just like the professional DJ one, which is the Audio-Technica AT LP 1240-USB. It has a built-in preamp in it, phono stage, so you can play it through the auxiliary or CD inputs, because line matching for the phono is different than a CD player or digital equipment. So I run it through phono jacks on a 1990s receiver, a 200 watt receiver. I have a few different analog receivers. The one I have upstairs has an equalizer built in it. I have another one in storage that I used since the late 80s, still runs. It's a backup 25 watt receiver, which had surprisingly good push. And the other thing I like about it is it actually has old-fashioned fuses in it. The modern stuff that's digital, you fry a channel, it's usually garbage. You can't fix it. You have to bring it to somebody to fix it, and it would actually just be cheaper to buy a new one. But the one I have in storage uses old-fashioned fuses, and I actually found the fuses I had purchased at Radio Shack many years ago, and I've only replaced one fuse in it, and that's because I mismatched the speakers, the ohm impedance. So, which is what usually causes frying one channel. So I probably have enough audio equipment to last until I'm in a box being put in the ground. So walked into a branch. Make sure I didn't move my camera. I want to make sure the camera. There we go. We are recording again. Well, there's trouble because I had to check, make sure I didn't bump that tree when I walked under it, because I hit it pretty hard, the branch. The camera moved a little bit, so I moved it back. Well, okay then. Now, do I walk up with all the busy traffic, or do I take a side street? We're already over 3 miles. So I think I'm going to go straight and avoid all that traffic. That's what I'll do. So we'll go this way. In case you haven't noticed, I really don't pay attention to red lights or green lights. I pay attention to whether or not I have an opportunity to cross. Because I'm confident in my decision making. Some people are not, and I've talked about this on previous walks. There will be no cars coming, and they will push the button on a pole. And usually it's people under 25. They will push a button on a pole. See if this dog is out here today. Yep, he is. Hey, baby. See, you can get used to your routes. I knew that dog would be there. I also know that there's actually an opening. If that dog really wanted to eat me, he could go through that opening and come out of that gate. So he did not want to eat me. He's just being territorial. So anyway, usually people under 25, they won't, I don't want to say all of them, but many of them, they grew up with their safe spaces and timeouts and being afraid of every damn thing. they won't decide on their own to cross the street. They have a very poor sense of danger because they've been sheltered. And that's the truth. Society has protected them and kept them away in solitude on their phone, on their computers. So they have a difficult time negotiating things like crossing a street on a busy intersection. So they push a button and they wait for a light on a pole to make a decision for them, because they've been growing up with everything else and everybody else making decisions for them. It's like a disease. And probably if they just tried to do like I did and just walked out in the street while the light was green, they'd probably get killed. I went because I saw it was turning only, and the car that was going to turn where I was crossing was far enough back I had time to get to it, and there was nobody coming from in front of me, so I knew it was safe to cross. So pretty sad truth, but you know, tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure you've noticed it. Won't cross the street unless they're given permission. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this isn't the original route I planned today, but this is where I ended up. Now, something I am going to be doing soon is I'm going to start walking in a couple of different places once in a while that I haven't walked yet. Problem is finding places to walk that I haven't walked yet. It's not exactly a big giant city. You'll see a couple of the places in the new intro video, and what I did for the show, which this is the very first walk that debuts one of the new intros, is you'll see different places that I've gone. Couple anyway. I mean, I could make a really long intro. I just made a 40-second show intro, where usually it's a minute 20, so I've actually shortened the intro by 2/3. I'm not going to do intros anymore that have today's date, the temperature, and all of that stuff. It's really not necessary. It's all going to be in the title of the video anyway. So it's like, it's becoming redundant. So basically it says, welcome to Walking with J.Beau. And then it has something else with an almost daily walking vlog. And it explains that it's about MAHA walking, Make America Healthy Again. And it thanks people for walking with me, for being here. And then at the end of the video, I'll just do a simple title like I have been, with thank you for walking, which is kind of a play on thank you for watching. It means both. But since it's walking, it's thank you for walking. Like, thank you for walking with me. I enjoy your company, that kind of thing. So one thing I've been noticing lately, I have not gotten on a scale for well over a month and a half maybe. I was thinking maybe, ooh, what's that? I was thinking maybe I should. Now I have been noticing a lot of sand like this all over the city since I've been walking today. And I think what they're doing is they're doing a lot of repair work from the damage done to people's lawns from snow melt on properties. It looks like that's what they're doing with it. Don't know for sure. Oh, I thought we had a chute cycling jug in there, but we don't. So it looks to me like that's what they threw out here, and I got all these little white pellets in there. I think that's supposed to be like grass seed or something. But we had rain with downpours, and it looks like a lot of it's going down the drain. Like everybody's hopes and dreams in Lewiston. A little humor there. Humor! There's definitely something different I noticed today walking. That was not there on yesterday's walk anywhere. In any case, I'm having a nice walk today. It's actually kind of nice that I don't have to hold the selfie stick today. So that is something that does get cumbersome. I got both hands swinging on each side like a normal person walking. It makes for a better rhythm walking. So I don't know, man. I noticed this week there was flooding in New Mexico, flash floods, a disaster. We had the one in Texas. There's been a couple of other ones elsewhere. Today, part of the interstate in Boston had to be closed because of flash flooding, which has never happened before. So I'm starting to wonder, is the climate changing? And if so, it's not being caused by man. It's not man-made. I firmly do not believe that. The climate has changed consistently over the millennia. But anyway, there have been a lot of flash floods, a lot of thunderstorms, rainstorms, tropical stuff, which a lot of the flooding we just saw was tropical. So but they seem, at least the stretch we're in right now, seems to be a lot more water than you normally would see. And I don't know what the mathematical odds for having 3 or 4 flash floods that become disasters in a pretty short period of time. But I can tell you that the interstate, I-95 in Boston, going through there, should not have been flooded like that. It was actually pretty big news today in Massachusetts. I don't think the national networks really picked it up. They may have. I don't watch them to tell, so. But that happened earlier today. You know, it's like they had that hurricane in New Orleans. It was the worst one since the late 1800s with the amount of rain and stuff. Amount of snow we had this winter. They had several inches of snow in New Orleans. Last time that happened was the 1800s, and everybody was crying climate change. Well, it wasn't climate change in the 1800s when that happened, was it? So just because something odd happens doesn't mean, you know, it's when you start seeing patterns. Like we've had 4 flash flood events that got my attention this year, because we usually don't see that nationally like that at those levels. That one in Texas, that's the worst one they've ever had, and it's been flooding in Texas for a long time, and they're not all flash floods, but this was pretty nasty. Happened quick. So when you start seeing patterns with it happening more often and more severe, mathematically coincidence starts to get eliminated. So we will keep an eye on things. I can tell you 2 years ago here we had record rainfall like I've never seen before. Almost every day we had rain. It was ridiculous for a whole year. Whole year. Even rained in the wintertime. So that was unusual. Last year was one of the driest years we've had since 2000. Barely got any rain at all. So, you know, try to explain that to me. Can't be done. There's no really discernible pattern there. And this year has been pretty normal. It's actually been a little drier. Maine tourism right now is booming. The weather has been beautiful most of the spring. It has rained just about every weekend though, either a little or a lot, but last weekend was very nice. But it's been great during the week, of course, you know. But for tourists vacationing here, they've had great weather. Great weather. Old Orchard Beach is hopping, and that's the same beach that they were worried about drying up and dying because of Trump's tariffs on Canada. Canadians are so mad at America, they're not going to come here anymore. Propaganda. Local media has been reporting the tourist industry is booming right now. It's having one of its best years in quite some time. So there you have it. That's why I always say when you hear these media narratives, just take them with a grain of salt. 80% of the time they're false, and then 20% of the time when they're true, they've been exaggerated to the point where they sound much worse than they are. So I really did enjoy the last walk I did that I uploaded. There was a lot of good verbal content in that one. A pretty nice breeze today. 70 degrees. Definitely feels like it's about 70, 71. We'll probably get back up into the mid upper 80s there in a couple days. Probably get muggy again. But it is July and August. Maine is hot and muggy like everywhere else usually. Even though sometimes we get relief from it. We'll get a cool front and go by, have some thunderstorms, then a couple of days of Canadian air, mid 70s. And then it goes back up to the upper 80s, low 90s. And hot. Not exclusive to Maine. People usually say, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. You have to say it with the Maine accent though. If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Yep. Today is Thursday, on July the 10th. I gotta put the trash out tonight. Golden tulips, whatever those are called. Those look nice. We're at 4.5 miles, according to the app lady in my ear. 1 hour and 17 minutes since I started the app. So I get my at least 5 miles today. Good walk today. The sign here says I'm doing 28. It must be for that car way down the road. Didn't realize those guys had that kind of range. I did activate those one night though, a couple years ago. Said I was doing 4 miles per hour, which is about right. Actually, it's not right. I have to walk faster than 4 miles per hour because I walk 5 miles in an hour and 40 minutes. Actually, 5 miles at about an hour and 25 to an hour 30. Depending on my pace. Right now I'm almost at 101 hour and 20 minutes at 4.5 miles. So I average about 16 to 18 minutes a mile. So keep my eyes open ahead. This is about the only part of my walk today that can be dangerous. It's not my favorite. I don't have a sidewalk on the left or the right, and both sides have hazards. But I prefer to see cars coming towards me than from behind. And then up by that deer crossing sign is where I'll cross. Although I'm not a deer. I used to have room to walk on the side here, as you can see. But that all washed away up here. Heavy rain. And what makes this dangerous is that's a crest. So you can't see what's coming over it from the angle I'm at. And people drive too fast through here. And you can see the old pavement goes down pretty far here. And all the rocks and dirt they put there washed out. So I am going to cross over there. I do have room to walk on the side there. People just drive through here too fast. The speed limit is not what they're driving. This is the kind of stuff you have to watch for at night here, these dips. One year I almost broke my ankle next to this sign, this deer crossing sign. We had torrential rain It flowed down this way and carved out a deep hole, which was only about this big around, and I stepped right in it. All right, we are almost at 5 miles. So the reason why I said a few minutes ago is I gotta get on a scale again, because I'm getting skinny. I can tell I've gotten skinnier. Not by much, but I've noticed a little bit, especially putting clothes on that I'm used to wearing. It's usually how I tell. We just hit 5 miles. My stomach's growling. I'm hungry. I have to do something about that. Yep. Haven't gotten any ticks on me lately. Won't start seeing ticks again until September. They do their last shot for the year before winter, but it's never as bad as in the spring. So I had about 6 on me this year, ticks. And we're going to be doing a woods hike in here across the street there shortly as well. I always save those for when I need to do a change up. Little change up. Turning out to be a nice day. It's like the sky is trying to clear up a little bit. Still cloudy, but it looks a little thin. You can see some faint sunshine on the ground. Cut across. We'll wrap this walk up ahead here. Hope everybody had a good week. Happy Friday Eve. Hope you have a nice Friday tomorrow. Everybody's beeping. Everybody's beeping and they're always angry. Everybody's always mad. It's one thing I don't do when I'm driving is I don't flail my arms around and say, "Come on, lady, go!" I say stuff to myself about it, but I just don't find it productive. For one thing, it doesn't make the person in front of you smarter. If anything, you're going to distract them from what they're doing, and they'll actually be more dangerous. Technically. Last thing I would want to do is put my arms up like, "Go, lady," and then she goes because she doesn't want to make somebody offended, and then she pulls right out in front of somebody going through a red light. and I would feel horrible. So I mind my own business. So I'm going to cross up here, then up ahead I'll sign off with y'all. Clouds are working their way out of town there. Heading southeast, looks like. I'll wait till we get past these people here and I'll sign off with you. Alright, my friends, click like and subscribe, share the content, and thank you for walking with me today. And click like and subscribe. It matters to me if you're not subscribed. I'd like to see you subscribed. So anyway, we'll see you on the next walk. Say a prayer for President Trump. God bless America. And say a prayer for America. And we will see you on the next walk, my friends. Peace out.